should be played at high volume. This should be played at high volume. This should be played at high volume. Preferably in a residential area.
The following thoughts on Hoppe Hour do not represent Cox Media Group or its sponsoring. Anything you hear may and will be used against you. Thank you. Voted as best local podcast in Tampa Bay by the Creative Loafing. You're listening to Hoppe Hour.
What up? What is happening? This is Hoppe Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe. And I met this next comedian when I would be the intern at the morning show boot camp, and she is the co-host of the Brother Wease show on Radio 95.1. The very lovely Marianne Sierk is on Hoppe Hour. What's up?
Woohoo! What's up, man? Hi, I remember you because you're so tall and you were so young. You're so young when I met you, so you're very memorable.
I grew up before your eyes, Marianne. At first, I was a little intern that lived with my mom, and then I was on a syndicated show for 3 months, and now I'm in Tampa. How things have come, Marianne.
Oh, you were only on for 3 months? Jeez.
I came and then I went. I went from factories to palm trees, so I think I'll take it.
You came in like a wrecking ball.
I literally did. I literally went into Cleveland, and I was just a wrecking ball, and I flew off, and I flew to Florida, you know?
Well, you win. Who wants to be in Cleveland? Tampa's way better.
I have nothing to say against Cleveland because I have a lot of friends there, and it's an okay town. But I just want to say there's a reason why you guys are top rated in your market. It's because you guys are humble and you don't need to make fun of people for ratings, which is why I'm friends with Wease and why I've always looked up to the guy, you know?
Yes. You know, that's the one thing that Wease has always done. I listened to Wease in high school when I was in high school in the 90s. And when I got the job a few years ago, 3 years ago, to work with him, I started listening again just to like brush up on him. And the one thing I noticed is like every time a caller would call in and say something dumb and annoying, like something that I would make fun of them, he legitimately let them speak and he gives them their time and he laughs at their stupid jokes, you know. And I think he genuinely does like the jokes too, so that might be it. But I was impressed with the fact that he turned every caller into something valuable and made everybody feel, he really makes everybody feel like a buddy. Like he can talk to a wall. Like he could talk to anybody and get a good conversation out of it. So it's pretty impressive quality.
What I love about Wease, too, and I think you noticed this, is he wasn't even supposed to be in radio. He was just working in music, and they liked his voice. So he just takes his job, and he just loves every second of it. But a lot of these radio guys always wanted to be in radio, so it gets to their head. But Wease has an ego. We all know that Wease has an ego, but it's a different type of ego. He just takes each day as it is. Am I right about that?
Well, yeah, and he's like anti-radio, which is probably the only reason I would do radio is because he's kind of like a podcast. Like he just talks and he does not do bits. Like he hates pre-recorded bits and all that. And if I would have never moved from Los Angeles to Rochester to do a radio show, like because I kind of hate radio just like Wease does, thank God. Like I don't like the plasticness of radio and like the top 10 quality of it, you know, where it's like, hey, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And
a lot of guys in radio are obsessed with radio. Like they love it and they embrace that culture. And the only reason I can handle these is because he's the anti guy.
It's weird. I think when you first met me, I was a lot more goofier and I was way more into radio. But seeing the egos in the business and just seeing how things are, it's sort of like flattened me out where I'm learning to like watch my back. You know what I mean? Like I trust people in life, but I don't trust people. I learned a lot this last year, you know?
Oh my God, me too. Like I had no idea. By the way, like this sounds probably really bad, but I think radio is kind of like, this sounds so bad, I shouldn't say this, but it's like the last stop, you know, in entertainment. It's like when I started off, I was like, oh, I want to do TV. I want to do Comedy Central and movies. I never was like, ooh, radio, you know, like I would never want to put that on my list of like, I want to be the drive time girl, you know? So I was shocked that there was so many big egos like people think, the guys that I've met think that they just walk on water, like that they're celebrities. And it's like, dude, people listen to you on their way to work and then they forget about you. Like they don't think about you all day. You know what I mean?
That's actually not exactly true. That's true, but the previous show I worked on, the thing is, the fans then discuss you on Reddit, Marianne, and they try to speculate. Your show's different because you guys are a humble family that care about each other, even when you guys don't get along. But a lot of times in radio, Marianne, these fans lose their mind. It's unreal that us talking into the mic makes their life where they're thinking about, let's say, Marianne or Paulie or Hoppe during the day. Trust me, it gets weird.
Ugh. Well, that is pathetic. Like, I mean, back when I don't even know if people. I should stop, but who listen? Like, sometimes people listen to satellite now, like, or podcasts on the way to work. So it's like, if you, I don't know, I should probably stop talking, bashing my own business, but that's crazy if that's the truth.
I just find egos to be weird. I mean, I guess if you're like, let's say Bieber, or you're some famous singer, I get to have an ego because everyone knows who you are, but it's different when you're in radio. It's like, if you're not in that main city, nobody knows who you are. That's what I don't get about these egos. I mean, I'm kind of a cocky guy because I'm proud of my work, but I'm also humble because I know if it wasn't for the listeners and it wasn't for the people that have supported me, I would be nothing. I just don't get in entertainment overall how people can get so full of themselves, you know?
Well, yeah, like in any business too. It's never really going to serve you to treat people crappy. And why? Like, I know Rover kind of did that with you and with Wease after his interview.
The thing where he said 70 downloads because I said it gets 70 downloads per show, and they sort of made it seem like that's what I have altogether. Is that what you're referencing, Marianne?
Yes. It's so absurd. It's just so small-minded. It's like, you know, you have a cool podcast. Just why doesn't he just keep doing his stale radio bits?
That's what I didn't get. It's you have a radio show that you have a huge house for. You have a boat. You have a car. Why do I matter? That's what I didn't get. It was so weird. I was answering phones that morning from Mike Kelta here in town, and it was so weird. I'm getting all these tweets, Marianne. It's like 70 downloads, 70 downloads. I'm like, what does that even mean? And it was going on for like 2 hours. I was like, what? It was weird.
Yeah, we were getting texts from our listeners too, like saying Rover's talking about Wease, and Wease is like, first we're like, who's Rover? Like, what is that? And then they were like, yeah, he's mad because Wease said so. Now, I had a podcast. I had the Threesome Show podcast, and Wease came on, and we used to record in a bar. And he was drinking, and he, on similar to your podcast, kind of let loose and said whatever he wanted, just sort of felt like he didn't have to edit himself. And then, of course, the next day he's like, wait, after what happened with Rover in that podcast, he's like, you have to edit. You have to edit the things I've said. So I had to go back and edit a lot of the things that he talked about when he was drinking.
It was funny.
On our podcast.
I knew it was going to come out on air because just the way it began, he goes, it's funny that you mentioned that you worked with Rover and how we said that. I'm like, uh-oh, here comes a rant. And he just rips on his national career. I'm like, oh, boy. I wasn't going to take it out because it's a legend just giving me radio material. It's just right when he was saying that, Marianne, I'm like, uh-oh, I think they're going to play this tomorrow. And they did.
Oh, well, that's what's content for him, and that's fine.
So how do you guys prep for the show? You know, so some shows prep by finding other shows to rip on or doing the same old bits, but how do you guys find the prep?
Well, we listen to the Rover show, and then we take notes, and then the next day we try to rebuttal everything. Actually, it's like I said, Wease is totally anti-radio, so he does all this prep work for about an hour. Oops. And he highlights stories, and we have a board where we put stuff up. And then once we begin the show, he ignores all of that and literally just like talks off the top of his head. And in the middle of saying something, a bird will fly by, and he'll go, "Google what kind of bird that was." And like we are so ADD. We have no rhyme or reason. It's crazy. It's almost a little too freeform. Like we have a plan and we never stick to it. And that can be awesome, and sometimes it can be kind of bad because we're like, oh, we should probably, delve into these stories a little deeper or have a plan and research stuff. But it's fun. It keeps it interesting.
But do you guys ever feel like you guys get off track? Like, is there ever a point where you guys have to sort of bring Wease back if he's going on a tangent? Or is he good at sort of being the ringleader of the show?
No, I mean, Wease has great strengths, but he has weaknesses too. And when Paulie's not there, Wease is always like, I don't need, we're like, let me write on the board, or let's, have a plan. No, I don't need it. But Paulie really is the backbone and like tries to keep things on track. So I realize when Paulie's not there, I realize how important it is to have some input, some direction, because Wease definitely will just go off. And like we get texts, we can read texts from listeners. And when people say, things that aren't nice about Wease, he kind of takes it to heart, and he'll get sidetracked, and he'll still go, oh, really? You think I'm wrong? Well, call me and tell me to my face. He'll start going off, and we're like, all right, that's not fun to listen to after a while. Like every now and then it's fun, but if it's just constantly rebutting these textures, it gets tedious. So we try to make sure he doesn't go there too much. I don't show him the texts anymore.
I can just imagine Wease just reading a text and getting so mad at it just because he's such a hard ass. I feel like it hurts his ego,
Well, yeah. I mean, it's funny because I see him do it, and I go, Wease, why do you let that bother you? And then I'll get a text that says, you're an idiot. And I get mad, and I start writing the person back. Like, it's human nature. If somebody says, you're stupid, you don't know what you're talking about, you want to defend yourself. I don't know what person wouldn't want to do that. You know what I mean? Like, if you get bashed, you're going to want to fight back. So I understand why he's doing it. However, you have to have the self-control to not do it on air. Like, write them back privately or, email them, but don't ruin the show and start talking.
I got the same thing when I worked for Rover. A lot of these fans would tweet things like on Twitter, and it was weird because by no means was I famous, but whenever a person would want a picture at a bar in Cleveland, what was said on Twitter just by any average Joe was never said in person.
Yeah.
Like, they would never say this to our face, Oh,
no, yeah. I mean, it terrifies me to have a photo put up on the radio website of myself because I'm pregnant. I'm due in about 10 days. I'm due any day, really.
That's awesome.
And I just feel gross. And the pictures, I look horrible to myself, like my face is bloated.
Don't say that.
Photo. Well, I know I'm making a baby, so I'm making a human. I'll cut myself some slack, but it's hard to see yourself differently. But whenever I see a picture on the radio station's website, I'm terrified to see the comments. Like, I try not to look at them because people can be so mean. And there's even people within my station that have been mean to me about, so it takes a very big person to not indulge in that,
You can't let it get to you because at first it ruins your day, but then I'll like meditate or something, and it's like these people are unhappy if they're trying to rip into someone that's in radio. Like, when you think about it, it's a real sad thing,
Totally. Like, I always think, like, how much of a loser are you that you're going to pick on someone on radio? Like, we are the lowest form of entertainment. Like, it's so inconsequential, but it gives them some pleasure. Actually, Polly met one of our biggest haters, some guy that texts in all the time, like really mean, nasty stuff. And the guy introduced himself to Polly. He was like, hey, I'm asshole Scott, or whatever we call him, text. And we're like, you are? And he was like a normal dude, like in his 40s with a wife and kids. And Polly goes, so why do you do it? Like, what is the motivation for you to sit by your radio and text in mean things? And he goes, I don't know. It's just fun for me. It's just like like he made it sound like it was just this thoughtless side thing that he did every now and then. And we're like, no, you put so much energy into it. Like, what? There is something so wrong. I wanted to tell his wife, like, he's out of his mind. Like, this man is a loser. But I don't know. It's some people's sport, I guess.
I don't know. It's just weird because this wasn't around 10 years ago. Like, can you imagine Brother Wease, like 30 years ago when he was more energetic than ever and you had Twitter? I feel like they would not even allow him have an account. You know, he would just be going off all the time.
It's a different world. I mean, he's really involved politically on Facebook. He loves Facebook fighting with politics.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's a super liberal. Like, I'm really, really liberal, but he's beyond even what I am. And it takes a lot of his energy. And some days in the morning, I'm like, you know, your blood pressure is probably crazy. Like, why don't you just, you're never going to change anybody's mind with politics. No one's ever going to read a comment on Facebook and go, you're right, I'm not going to be a Republican anymore. Like, I'm going to totally switch everything about my life. Like, it's fruitless, but I don't know. We all do it, I guess.
What is your take on this upcoming election? At first, I thought Trump was funny, and now it's kind of sinking in, and he's beginning to scare me, Marianne.
I know. Well, you know what? I'm beyond that. I used to be scared about Trump, like, oh my God, but now I look at the other two guys, Cruz and Rubio, and I'm like, you know what? Trump is the lesser of three evils.
Cruz is creepy.
Those guys,
there is something about Cruz I do not like.
Well, he looks like a child molester. Totally. He looks like I don't know. He looks like a cartoon or something. But he and Rubio are so conservative. Like, they would immediately shut down Planned Parenthoods. They would immediately, like, sew up women's vaginas. They would immediately take away marriage equality. Like, everything that they're hardcore. Trump used to be liberal, and he's in entertainment, and he might be a little more moderate than we think, even though he's an total ass and the things he says are inappropriate and going to get us in war. I would choose him as the Republican candidate over Cruz and Rubio 100 times. So I'm actually getting less afraid. I'm like, okay, fine, we'll take Trump. We'll take that idiot. He's going to get crushed by Hillary because Hillary is more moderate. Like, she'll get Republicans' votes.
Do you want her to be president? Yeah. I'm thinking about it. She has so much experience. I know she has the whole Benghazi thing, and not that many people like her, but I'm like, whatever. Just give it to Clinton. That's how I feel. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm annoyed that it's Clinton again. I'm annoyed that it's still this regime. I love Bernie Sanders, but I also see that Sanders is a little too out there for most. I mean, I literally love everything he stands for and applaud it, but I know it's too big a pill for America to swallow. Like, he's crazy looking. Like, he's kind of like Trump. He's like the opposite. He's like crazy hair, gets all his funding independently. No corporation owns him. But the things he says are too extreme for most Americans. So I think Hillary is more palatable, and at least she's not going to take away the things that I think are important. So, but I don't trust her. You know, she has a lot of crappy political, you know, underplayings. Like, she's not the best person. She's a shitty politician at the root of it. But whatever.
She just seems like she wants to be president, to be the first female president, and to be president. I just don't think she cares about us. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, she's a grandma now, so I really, whenever she talks about being a grandma, it really does work with me. I'm like, oh, she seems like she's really, you know, like I kind of buy it. But I know that she's done a lot of shady things. And like her husband, I think that whole marriage is a sham, and it's just political. It's a total house of cards, like art imitates life kind of thing. But again, I'll take her over anybody else. I'll take it. She'll win for me, you know?
I was thinking about it. By no means has Obama been like a great president, but I would give him like a C-. I describe him as like that backup quarterback that might throw a few interceptions that lose you the game, but he's always keeping you in the game, and he always plays to win. I just kind of describe him as a guy with a lot of heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All of those references are completely lost on me, but I generally understand what you're saying.
Basically, he's not Peyton Manning. Like, he's good enough to play, but he's not an all-time great, but he's going to help you win some games, you know?
Well, and that's kind of everybody. No matter who we get in office, it's not going to be them. They're going to surround themselves with good people. Even Trump, he's going to hire everybody. There's checks and balances in place. We're going to have a Democrat-controlled Senate or House. Nobody's going to be completely in control. So we're never going to be totally screwed, I don't think. You know, so you can't panic.
Have you seen the movie Idiocracy?
Yeah. Wait. Have I? What is it?
It's the one with Luke Wilson where he goes into the future in 500 years and everyone's moronic and dumb.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of Religulous. No, I didn't see Idiocracy.
You have to see it. It's really weird. It's made by Mike Judge, who made like Beavis and Butthead and Office Space, and it's where he's the most average man in the world, and it was filmed in 2005, and so he goes 500 years into the future to 2505, and it's weird. In the future, we're all about money and sex, and Terry Crews is the new president, the wrestler. And it's really weird, Marianne. You look at the movie, and it's 11 years older now, but it just seems like it's 2016 now. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, we're not far. We're so obsessed with entertainment. Like, politics has become entertainment now. Like, when I was in high school or in the 90s or early 2000s, politics was somewhat dry and boring, and it was easy to tune it out. And now it's just become, because of Trump, a total shit show. It's just a reality show. It's offering great entertainment and sound bites for us in the morning. We're like, did you hear what he said last night? But it's appealing to the lowest common denominator. Like, him saying racist things is bringing all these racist people out. Like, yeah, finally, someone's saying the things we want to say. It's like, ew, no. Those things should not be said.
I see it as the people that are really into Trump are the same people that dedicate their life to the WWE. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally. It is one and the same, completely. That's frightening.
I don't even care anymore. Whoever is president is president. If Trump is running, I will vote Democrat. But if Trump's not running, I'm not going to vote. I don't care, you know. It's like whoever we get is going to do nothing. They don't care about us, Marianne, you know. They want it for the power trip.
Yeah, but you live in Florida. We need your vote down there.
That is very true. Maybe I would be the one vote. What Ryan Hoppe says matters. You know what? I didn't think about that. I'm in a swing area. Maybe I would change America forever, you know, with my one vote.
Florida was a huge problem in what was it, 08 or 04? Can't even remember anymore.
It was in 2000.
Al Gore.
Yeah, when Bush was here to ruin this country. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was weird. Bush was on Ellen's show like a few months ago. And it's just weird how we seem to forget how awful of a president he was. He's dancing with Ellen. He's having a grand old time. And all the women in the audience are like chanting, Bush, Bush. And they're all dancing. And I'm like, don't we seem to forget that he was a horrible president? Like, it's weird how time just makes us forget about it, you know?
Yeah, one of the biggest security breaches in the world, 9/11, was under his quote-unquote watch.
And he began the war.
Yeah, what a legend. Right. That had nothing to do with 9/11, but somehow he Jedi mind tricked us into thinking it was, protect our freedom. Like, no, this has nothing to do with it. This is for him to make Daddy proud of him.
Speaking of making Daddy proud, boy, did Jeb not achieve that whatsoever.
Oh,
I was reading online. They said he's one of the biggest busts of all time when it comes to a campaign ever.
Oh, yeah, it was pathetic. It was so sad. I mean, he's so weak and soft-spoken, and not that that's bad, but it was just, he just got pummeled. It's funny, right now I'm watching ABC National News on mute here, and they're showing Trump kicking people out of his press conferences when people are protesting him. There are so many montages of him being awful to protesters and his supporters, like beating up protesters at his rallies. It's scary. He really is like a dictator, like a Hitler.
It's like going to like an NWA concert in the 90s, you know?
Yeah. You've got to wear riot gear to go.
I think things would be
We
bad.
try not to talk about politics on the air, mostly because Rochester is conservative, and Wease completely believes that if we talk politics, people change the station, that people don't want to hear his liberal take. And he's got this whole theory about how, there's no room for liberal radio, so he never, ever wants to talk about it. But it's too bad because I love talking about it.
See, I don't. I just find this election fascinating. Just because whoever we get, we are screwed, I'm actually going to miss Obama. I voted for him. I like the guy. I think he's done what he can, I think it's going to be a case of once he's gone, we're going to say to ourselves, we don't really know what we had until it's gone,
Oh, yeah. I know. He was so peaceful. Remember when the black guy was in office? It was so great. Who knew we'd ever say that, this country can be so racially divided, and now for us to be like, wow, the good old peaceful days with Obama.
The other thing I was thinking about, too, is if we had Trump as president, that might be the hottest wife we've ever had in the White House, by far.
Well, hottest, I guess, yeah. She's somewhat trashy. I've seen some pictures of her where she's like fully in lingerie, and it's like, this is so unpresidential, but because it's a new age. I shouldn't have almost seen the First Lady's butthole in pictures, but I have. I've pretty much seen all her parts.
Now, throughout your life, you've been through many elections. Did you ever think it would come down to this?
No, I thought the Obama campaign was huge. I lived in L.A. during the elections, and I remember just feeling so adamant about it and just feeling so proud when he got nominated. I thought that was a huge election, but this is turning into something different. It's not as important. It doesn't feel important for the right reasons, but it is important,
I think TMZ ruined everything. It's just everything has to be about celebrities and reporting,
Totally. It is like a TMZ culture now. Politics has become that way. It's not going in a good direction, but I don't know. I don't want to sound like some old, it's horrible now, like some old fuddy-duddy lady that's like, used to be great, now it sucks,
Now, before I let you go, how excited are you, Marianne, to be a mother?
Oh, my gosh. I've been feeling all the feels. Deanna, a co-worker of mine today, said, in a couple of days, you could be a mom. You could have a baby. And I was like, shut up. I can't. I'm 39, but I still feel like I'm babies having babies. I still feel like I'm not ready. I'm too young. It's crazy. Not to mention the fear of the pain of the child's birth, the birthing. I don't know if you as a guy think about stuff like that, but I'm gearing up to have the most painful day of my life in a few days. And it can happen at any minute. That's daunting.
It is weird. I was thinking about it, too, because I have my first girlfriend ever, so I was with her. Well, I wasn't with her when she had her period, but, I was around her. We were hanging out, and it's just weird. I feel like women go through a lot more than men. You have periods, you have the mood swings, you have pregnancies, you have menopause. I feel like we have nothing, Oh,
I know. And to take care of our bodies, we have to have an annual checkup, a pap smear, a breast exam, mammogram. We have to have so much more care that isn't covered under health insurance. We have to pay extra just to be alive. And you guys just could just walk around with it, weighing it around with no big deal. And then we have men going, oh, we're taking that away. You guys aren't allowed to have your free annuals. We're going to take Planned Parenthood away from you. You know, like it's really shitty. We need to step up, and I want all that stuff protected. That's, I guess, not to get political again, but having a baby sort of does make you think more politically, because you're like, I want to make sure things are right, you know?
What type of mother are you going to be? Let's say when social media is bigger than ever, are you going to let them be on that? Are you going to let them have a tablet? Or are you going to sort of like hide them from that?
I just want to make sure I'm drunk the whole time, so I don't care. No, I don't know. I don't know. It's so different now. Like, apparently you have to really monitor all the electronic stuff. Like, I see my little nephews on their tablets.
It's scary.
Like, I see them walking around the house looking at tablets, like looking at their phones and tablets, and I'm like, oh my God, they're like mini adults, mini.
I don't like
out.
it.
Oh, I know. It's not like it used to be.
Well, it's weird.
But, yeah.
I work these events for the Tampa Bay Lightning down here, the hockey team for the Bone, and you'll see these 7-year-olds taking with that little selfie device. They have to get the perfect selfie, and it's like, you're 5 years old. I didn't even have a flip phone when I was 14. You know, it's weird.
Oh, sure. I didn't text until, I was like in my 20s. I didn't start texting. Because texting didn't start till like 04 or so, right?
Yeah, it was like when the Razor came out. Like, it's weird. I'll listen to rap music, and you'll hear about the sidekicks and the Razors, and you're like, oh, my God, does that sound ancient?
Yeah, or like beepers or pagers. Like, we had those, too.
Go on MySpace, Marianne.
Yeah. Oh, this is before that even. But I remember pagers, like, as an actor, you had to have a pager in case you got an audition. And I had to have one. It was so stupid. And then everything changed. Now it's all immediate. But, yeah, I don't know. Like, I know it's an easy babysitter for a baby to have a computer to just be like, here, go look at this cartoon. But I guess I'm going to try hard not to be like that.
Now, before I let you go, where can people find your work online, and how can they listen to the Brother Wease show?
Oh, yeah, you can go to radio951.com/listen. That's how you listen to our show in the morning, and we're on 6 a.m. What is it? Yeah, or there's an iHeartMedia app that you can download. But if you're just on the computer, you can go to radio951.com/listen to hear live. And I have a website, except my name's really hard to spell, so nobody can find me ever. But it's MarianneSierk.com, and it's a really shitty, janky website, so beware.
You should update it. You know what I mean?
I just did like 3 days ago, but I did it on WordPress, and it was confusing. So when I have the baby, that's going to be my project. Like, besides having a baby, I'm going to redo my website somehow.
Here's what you need to use. Get rid of WordPress. Use Squarespace. Trust me, it'll change your life forever.
Okay, I've heard of that, but I feel like I already signed up for, I don't know.
Talk to somebody you know that can help you. Find your geekiest friend. Trust me, Squarespace will change your life. It is so much easier. You don't need to know that HTML crap. It's awesome. And there's all these videos on there to help you. It's the best.
That's the thing. I've got Comedy Central videos that Comedy Central won't let me post them anywhere because they own them. So it's like I have to like sneakily try to put my stuff up. It's so annoying. You like do TV spots and they're like, no, you can't use it to promote at all. You can't. Nobody can see this stuff.
It's like, how are you allowed to own someone else's work that they brought to the network? You know.
Well, I signed a contract. That's why I got my $500. But you know, who's going to say no to Comedy Central if they say that? You're going to go, okay, no problem. And then you're like, oh, great, I have no access to that clip. But it's out there somewhere.
Well, Marianne, keep up the good work. When I'm up, I listen to a few shows on TuneIn or iHeart, and I always check you guys out. And if I'm at the morning show boot camp this year, we definitely got to get a drink.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, thank you, Ryan. I'm so glad you're still in the game. It was great to talk to you.
And maybe after this segment, Marianne, if I'm lucky, if I can grow some talent, maybe I can get 71 downloads now.
Yeah, man. We'll have to make fun of that now. Let's make it 80, dude.
All right. Thank you, Marianne.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, have a good rest of the night.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, bye. And that was Marianne Sierk, who is on the top-rated Brother Wease show on Radio 95.1. And Brother Wease is the man. I've known him since August 2013, and I met him, Paulie, and Marianne in this waiting room at the Renaissance Hotel in Chicago, this fancy hotel, and I was so geeked out to meet them, and they couldn't be more genuine and sweet, so I enjoy listening to their show each morning. And if you're a fan of Marianne or the Brother Wease show and you just heard this interview and you want to hear more of Hoppe Hour, it's not hard. It's not rocket science. All you have to do is go to the app shop for Google Play or iPhone. Hear all 100 interviews I've done since July. Search up HOPPE Radio, and when I do shows live, you can chat me on there. Go to RyanHoppeRadio.com, RyanHoppeRadio@gmail.com, and tweet at me. Follow me. I will add you back at Ryan Hoppe Radio on Twitter and Instagram. This has been Hoppe Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe, saying peace out.
Hoppe Hour. Hoppe Hour.